In 1604, Miyamoto Musashi walked into the Yoshioka school in Kyoto. He was 20 years old. The Yoshioka family had trained samurai for generations. Their lineage stretched back over a century. They had served shoguns. Their name carried weight that most warriors spent entire lifetimes trying to earn a fraction of. Musashi walked in off the road, dirty, unknown, no school behind him, no master's name to offer as credential. He asked to fight their best man. The head of the school, Yoshioka Seijiro, accepted. The fight lasted less than a single exchange. Musashi moved once. Seijiro fell. The strike was so fast and so precise that several witnesses later said they were not certain they had seen it happen, only that the man was standing and then he was not. But here is the detail that matters more than the technique. In the moments before the duel began, witnesses noted that Musashi appeared to be doing nothing, not warming up, not visualizing, not adjusting his grip or running through the movement in his mind. Just standing there, breathing completely still. Not the stillness of someone suppressing nervousness. The stillness of someone for whom this situation, a real duel, real consequences, a dangerous opponent in front of a watching crowd, had not registered as a reason to be anything other than calm. Seijiro, by contrast, was visibly agitated. The pressure of his family's reputation, the watching students, the knowledge that losing to an unknown Ronin would be catastrophic. He lost before the swords touched. That stillness had a name. Musashi called it Heijoshin, ordinary mind, everyday mind, the mind in its natural, undisturbed state, not a special calm assembled under pressure. The actual baseline of a man whose nervous system had been trained to remain itself regardless of what the situation demanded. Most people have it backwards. They believe calm is something you produce when pressure arrives, that you reach for it in the moment, take a breath, tell yourself to relax. Musashi believed that calm produced in the moment is not calm at all. It is management, and management always fails under enough pressure. Real calm is not produced in the moment. It is what was already there. He trained this for decades before he ever named it. The years sleeping outside in winter trained it. The duels where death was the consequence of a single mistake trained it, not controlled sparring, real stakes, repeated until the nervous system stopped treating real stakes as exceptional. The years alone on the road trained it. No structure providing the illusion of safety. Just a man and whatever arrived. Together, across decades, they produced a man whose nervous system had genuinely recalibrated around difficulty, for whom pressure was not a disruption to his natural state. It was his natural state. Alongside Heijoshin, Musashi developed a second concept. He called it Futushin, the immovable mind. Where Heijoshin is the baseline, the ordinary, undisturbed quality of the mind at rest, Futushin is what happens when something tries to move that baseline. An insult, a threat, sudden danger, the psychological pressure another person applies to destabilize you before a confrontation even begins. The man with Futushin does not move. Not because he is numb, but because he has trained the gap between stimulus and response until nothing crosses it without his permission. He feels the insult. He does not react to it. He feels the fear. He does not obey it. In the Yoshioka duel, Musashi used Futushin before a single movement occurred. He arrived. He stood still. He made no attempt to perform readiness or project threat. He simply was. And that quality, that complete absence of performance in a moment designed to produce unsettledness, communicated something to Seijiro that no technique could have communicated. This man is not affected by what affects you. That realization, landing in the seconds before a life or death fight, is devastating. If your opponent is not affected by what affects you, every psychological tool you possess is useless. Every attempt to unsettle him settles him further. The fight was already over. Musashi understood that this was not a gift. He had been a reactive young man, quick to anger, quick to prove himself. The boy who killed his first opponent at 13 did not do so from calm, he did so from raw, unformed aggression. That aggression, unmanaged, would have killed him eventually. He had seen it kill better fighters than him. So he trained against his own reactivity the same way he trained against opponents, deliberately, looking for the specific conditions that moved him and putting himself inside those conditions repeatedly until they no longer did. He was not trying to feel nothing. He was trying to ensure that what he felt did not determine what he did. Think about the moments in your own life where pressure produced a response you regretted. The argument that escalated because you said the thing you should not have said. The opportunity that passed because fear made the decision before you could. These are not failures of character. They are failures of training. The nervous system running the pattern it was conditioned to run. The reaction happening at full speed because the gap between stimulus and response was never widened. Musashi spent 40 years widening that gap. You cannot train calm only in comfortable conditions and expect it to appear under pressure. The nervous system is not a library. It runs the pattern most deeply grooved. If the deeply grooved pattern is avoidance, manage the feeling, escape before it can do its work, then under real pressure, that is what runs. If the deeply grooved pattern is presence, stay inside the discomfort. Remain exactly where you are when everything in you wants to be somewhere else. Then under real pressure, that runs instead. Musashi grooved the second pattern so deeply, across so many years, that it became indistinguishable from his personality. In the Book of Five Rings he wrote, "In fighting and in everyday life you should be determined though calm." Determined though calm, not calm instead of determined, both, simultaneously. The full force of a man's will apply to what is in front of him, without the noise of anxiety, without the weight of what came before or the anticipation of what comes after. Just here, just now, just this. That is the samurai mind under pressure. And it is built the same way Musashi built it. One uncomfortable moment chosen over one moment of avoidance, until the gap between what you feel and what you do becomes wide enough to think clearly inside. Until the ordinary mind, undisturbed, settled, completely present, becomes the actual ordinary. Not the goal. The baseline. Heijoshin. What Musashi stood in, at 20 years old, in front of the most prestigious martial arts school in Japan. Just breathing. Already calm. Already finished.